Hey guys, welcome back, Prevalence Podcast. This is Sarah.
And Whitney.
So today, we've got a short one, but a good one. The ways motherhood can expose things in ourselves.
Yay! So a little self-reflection here.
Always good to do.
It is. It can be a little painful, and that's okay. It is okay for us to self-reflect. And when I say self-reflect, I don't want you to be overly critical or belittling of yourself.
Right.
I want you to kind of evaluate and say, what are some things that I want to change?
Yeah.
That I need to change and I can change.
Right.
So we're not saying be critical. We're not saying be harsh on yourself. We're saying just evaluate things.
Yeah.
So I just want to put that disclaimer out there because I know as moms, we already are just exhausted. So we can be more highly critical. So don't be critical of yourselves.
No.
Because that can make postpartum depression, anxiety, OCD, all the things worse. That is not the goal of this episode.
Sometimes we just have to look inward, and it's a mirror. And some, our children, our relationships, they'll expose things in ourselves.
Yes.
As they're supposed to.
Absolutely.
Because ultimately, it's to some point, we're all selfish creatures.
Well, yeah.
And then you become a mother or your journey to motherhood.
Yep.
And things get brought up. The first one, like we said, selfishness. It's like your time, know. So when you're pregnant and you may still, you're trying to prep for the baby.
Yep.
What's if you're having a really hard pregnancy? You can't do what you used to love anymore.
Yep.
Your time constraints start creeping in. You start
physical constraints.
Yes. Bed rest.
Yeah.
I was on modified bed rest. I felt like I was losing. Well, I did lose muscle. I lose strength, but also was just I was held hostage in my body a little bit, so that feeling.
Yeah.
And then when the baby comes, the sleep deprivation,
it's so hard.
Having another human rely on you 24/7.
Yeah.
You start looking and there's a lack of resources, time, basic human functions and needs.
Yep.
And you bring up normal reactions, right? Yeah. But it can also bring up, I feel like it can add maybe anger issues that further. If you had unhealed traumas, that could be resurfaced because the hormones are dropping. Yeah. You're not getting your basic needs. So I guess, what do we do when we feel like, oh boy, I'm recognizing that I struggle with perfectionism?
Welcome to the club.
Yeah. It's like, or I am having a really hard time feeling like I can't do what I need to do.
So I want to say, type A personality. I struggled with that prior to motherhood, and motherhood has exacerbated that.
Yes.
For me. So reminding yourself, no one is perfect. I don't care what their Instagram says.
Yeah. They
don't have it together.
No.
That one little area of their countertop that is clean. Well, that's probably about 6 inches of a clean countertop. You don't see what's behind that phone.
Yeah.
You don't see the other side of it. You don't see their reality of it. So I would encourage you, number one, nobody is perfect.
Yeah.
Nobody has it together.
Yeah.
Nobody. Media is a highlight reel.
Yes.
And social media is designed to make us compare ourselves to others.
Yeah.
And so remind yourself that comparison is a thief.
What about childhood issues that get brought up? Because I think we talked in the past. I don't think we were fortunate. We did not experience a huge trauma event or abuse but there may be some things that now that we're a parent and or you're pregnant and you start thinking, I want to do something different.
Oh, absolutely. So I will say this, I have wonderful parents. Absolutely. I was not abused growing up. However, we grew up in Alabama in the 90s, and I got multiple spankings. Got spankings with a belt. Got spankings where I had to go pick up my own switch, things like that. So now that I am a parent, I'm reevaluating okay, did that help me? What did the implementation of a spanking do to me as a child? Did I obey out of fear and, I hate to say it like this, Or did I obey because I thought, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is going to help me smoothly.
Right.
Things of that nature. Well, the that I obeyed fear type thing because I didn't want to have another spanking.
Right.
So, not saying I have not spanked my child because I have.
Yeah.
However, I have also realized, okay, I'm not cool with a belt. So not good with a switch.
Right.
I'm not good with an item being what spanks my child. If I spank my child, I warn them, like, hey, if you keep this up, you're gonna get a spanking because it shouldn't take me 20 minutes asking you to do something.
Right. Mm-hmm.
At this point, I can blatantly tell that you're not listening to me. And then I've popped her on her bottom with my hand.
Yeah.
One time.
Yeah.
Now, I always regret it because it doesn't get anything done. I've realized that spanking does not work with my children. It is just not how they respond to discipline. And so now this is going to sound kind of strange. I would like to be a gentle parent. However, that does not always happen. So I'm kind of a medium parent.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm a medium parent. Like, I really do appreciate the gentle parenting approaches with communication with children. And I appreciate them saying that we as parents need to self-regulate before we react.
Now, that's the one thing I take for that.
I'm here for
I can't meet your chaos with my chaos.
Agreed.
And I'm the adult. And if I can't handle it, why do I expect my 4-year-old to handle it?
Exactly. A dysregulated adult cannot regulate a dysregulated child.
And I think our generation is doing a lot of work.
We're trying. Versus
parents, grandparents, that people didn't talk about anxiety. They didn't talk about sensory overload. They didn't talk about postpartum depression.
Yeah.
They didn't talk about burnout.
No.
So sometimes it was just, I think looking at that, and you can look at your childhood experience, and you're a mom, and you're just like, I want to handle my emotions.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say better, but I need to handle me.
Yeah.
Right? And then so I can be the best me to demonstrate to my child.
Agreed.
Because kids ultimately are going to do what they see.
Oh, absolutely. They model what they see, but also we have to realize, where are they developmentally?
Yeah.
I mean, my youngest will be 2 next week. We are full-fledged toddler tantrums.
Oh, yeah.
She has learned the word no, and it is her favorite word.
Yeah.
It's my least favorite word now. And I understand, too, okay, it's developmentally appropriate for her to have a tantrum.
It's not developmentally appropriate for me to have a tantrum with her right now.
No.
So I guess the thing is when we're seeing these things, what do you tell women to do? So if they're saying, wow, I have a lack of resources. Wow, I'm having childhood trauma issues. Yeah. Now it's come to surface. What would you tell them? Where do they start?
So if you're recognizing childhood trauma issues, I would seek out a therapist that offers inner child and internal family systems modalities to help you deal with it. And you can even look it up on YouTube. Dr. Richard Schwartz is the one who founded it.
I'll link that, guys, for you guys in our notes.
And he's got some really cool, somewhat short meditations on YouTube that you can observe and really get a decent idea of what all that means. But what it is you're starting to kind of meet your own inner child. Figure out what needs they have, because those are needs that were unmet when you were a child. But when I do it with clients, talking to the inner child of, what are some needs I have? And they say it, once we come out of that meditation and I'm talking with the client, in the here and now, how do you think you can meet that need of loneliness? That nature. So then we can actually be our own source. It's a really great modality.
I feel like we need a whole episode just, I think, on that.
Yes, that would be a great one.
It's impactful.
It is. It's been so, honestly, as a therapist, to be with clients while they're going through that with them, and to see the progression and to see how they're healing themselves from the inside out. My goodness, it's so rewarding.
So when you're looking for therapists, let's cover this real quick. What's the best way, say if they're in California, to find a therapist?
I would go to psychologytoday.com.
Okay.
Because you can filter it down to your location. Now, I don't know the licensing laws in California, but I do know in Alabama, me as a therapist, I am licensed for the whole state of Alabama. So while my office is located here in the Birmingham area, I've been able to provide telehealth sessions to people in Mobile or Huntsville or Gadsden.
Okay.
So we're able to kind of bridge that gap. So, if they don't want to see a therapist in their area, of, oh my gosh, what if I run into them? And what if I get embarrassed? And you kind of have all those what ifs. Explore and see if you can see someone in a different part of the same state.
That's great information. I'll link that for you guys.
Yeah. Psychology Today, narrow it down by location and narrow it down by what you're struggling with. Because while some therapists may be skilled, certified in inner child and internal family systems, it may not pop up on their Psychology Today, but you could say that you're struggling with PTSD, childhood traumas, anxiety, depression, those kinds of
Same
maternal
things
mental
goes
health.
maternal mental health.
Absolutely. And so just kind of keep, I guess keep a broad category for that.
Okay.
And, at least how we work at Soul Story, something to us, they can say, oh, I'm interested in this. And our secretary knows.
And she can kind of match you.
Absolutely. And I would assume most places run that way.
That's wonderful. Moms, just a word of encouragement before we end this episode. And we'll talk more. I think the childhood trauma is something that gets exposed no matter where you are in your motherhood journey. But looking inward is powerful.
It is.
And so seeing something and improving, that takes a lot of strength and it's to be applauded.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of, like we said earlier, to being critical,
it's
recognizing is the first step.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we support you, moms.
Absolutely. And
We're
y'all
here for
got this. All right.
Till next time.
All right, bye.
Maternal mental health is as important as physical health. The Preview Alliance podcast was created for and by moms dealing with postpartum depression in all its variables, like anxiety, anger, and even apathy. Hosted by CEO, founder Sarah Parkhurst and licensed clinical social worker Whitney Gay, each episode focuses on specific issues relevant to pregnancy and postpartum. Join us and hear how other moms have overcome mental health challenges, as well as access tips and suggestions on dealing with your own challenges as moms. You can also browse our podcast library and listen to previous episodes at any time. Please know you're not alone on this journey. We're here to help.